Flavor Country. All right, it's time. Finally. How long have you been waiting on this? It's go time. Yeah. These guys, deceptively simple looking boxes that hold monitors for drive-through. However, there's a lot going on. So go ahead and pop some popcorn, make a cup of noodle, whatever. Yeah, we got to go over all this. But it's yeah, a lot going on, but you guys nothing we haven't done before, but just explain my madness here. So yeah, buckle in, get ready. So before we go over the lay of the land, yeah, the back page, and this was yeah, that was Mark 1. Don't like that one. So this is it right here. Got two of them. They're identical. So the overall lay, before we get into all the parts, I'll break them down for what's route. But you've got your base plate out of 1/2 inch, and then you guys are going to weld the actual tubing to that, and then that creates this 1/4 inch plate system. So that becomes the base. That's like what holds everything up. Then in order to mount these, you know, monitors that are mounted from the backside, how do you mount those to a base plate down here? Well, we had to create a frame. Well, I did, but you guys are going to actually create it. So this is an 090 skeleton frame that, since it's going to hold those monitors, and as we know, these are not light, these are very heavy. So you've got 1/4 inch plate boys here that are going to skewer through the 1.5 by 3 within that sort of back frame. Then that back frame is going to bolt to, what's up, Mr. Bolt? That's going to bolt to the base thing that you've made. And then it's going to have some side wings that will attach to the frame, but also attach to the hat. So we also have an 063 hat up here that is going to go on top, and that gets riv nuts that it gets held to the back frame, and then it closes in the TVs, the monitors. And then the whole base down here is a Lord's block party of various 063 pieces that will constitute the speaker box and this decorative triangle that steps in quite a bit, a lot thinner. You got this intermediate little box, and then you have the bottom actual box there. But because the base is so funky, there's no way to slide that up and down or from the side. The whole base is bifurcated to a front and a back that will come on this way, and then it will attach this way through riv nuts, and I'll show you where those go. So yeah, a lot of moving parts for something that looks simple, but it's gonna mean, keeping a sharp eye for all the parts moving around. So with that being said, let's get after it. Was the lay of the land. So what to look for? This is all of your back frame support. TV, I call it the TV frame. So those are the jiggies and the parts. These are for the back skins. It'll have the perf cut out there. There's your perf. This is the same perf that we used on ACF. So either bring more in, because I think we have to do another one of those monuments, right? So bring more of that in, or use some scrap, but you need to use that. This is for the side wings to make the cabinet look complete. That's the side. And then this is all the 1/4 inch that you need for the TV frame, just the TV frame. This doesn't have anything to do with the bottom yet. And then this is your top hat, 063. And then I have 090 bars that go into the top hat. We'll get into that, but that's what you're going to riv nut into. This is the 063 speaker box. This is the other part of the speaker box, and that's the other part of the speaker box. This right here is your lower, that's the main base that holds the whole thing up. And then there's your 1/2 inch aluminum base plate that retrofits to the concrete. So there we go. Let's just jump in from the top. This is easy. For whatever reason, this part here, you've got the left side and the right side. These notches, I don't know what Corel did, or I mean, me, whatever, I don't care. But these aren't quite symmetrical. So it all works out, but make sure that the left is the left and the right is the right. uh, because where these bars actually go, they're slightly off by like a 30-second. As far as like, generally what I try to do is I try to do down the center, right? And then this is like 2 inches from center, and that's like, 12 inches from center or whatever. But somehow these two drifted a little bit. So you got to kind of keep the left with the left, the right with the right. The skin is symmetrical. It's fine. It can be the front or the back, no problem. When you put these spars in, you're going to use these to jiggy this. Like this is all the jiggy to hold this and this, but you're going to do the bottom and these guys first, and you can tack all that together. And then you're going to leave the top open. And then where these little flat spots are in the spars, you're going to just lords, and then you're going to bring this on and cleco it and tack it, but get some lords on there. And that's going to hold this, because this is 16 inches across. So there's a lot of flappy, unsupported 063. So if you put some good blobs on there, put some good beads, and then bring the top home after you've put the sides in and you did everything else, that'll help secure that whole top. So, but the rest of it you can kind of tack together. And then once you have it all done, these are countersunk for riv nuts, and then it's all 1/4-20, I believe, right? Yeah, 1/4-20 steel riv nugs. And then they're just going to go in there, and that's what's going to hold the top hat on. And then you can see that the top hat will correspond to riv nuts in the top of the TV frame. So there's the top of the TV frame, and there's your riv nuts that you'll be 1/4-20ing through from the back of and that'll hold the hat on. But also there's two that are kind of out here. Those will correspond to the side skirts, which we could just jump into right now. The side skirts will have these little guys here that will help hold the side skirts on. So there's kind of a 1, 2, 3 punch with the side skirts. So side skirts are easy. They're 12-inch pieces of 09. You're just going to bend this up and make sure right is on right, and the flange goes to the front, and you're just going to, front towards enemy. And then you're just going to lords that on, boom, good to go. And then you're going to go ahead and rivet from the outside. It's fine. Rivets, no big deal. Nobody's going to care. You're going to rivet this together, and it's going to become this little guy here that will help hold this on. And you're going to put that right there and rivet that through from the outside. So then when it's time to put these side skirts on, you're going to have riv nuts on the TV frame. So you'll be able to access from the back. You'll go ahead and do 4 riv nuts plus the number 10s on the back side of this will hold the flap against the outer TV frame. So you can see where those are the holes there for the number 10s. So that'll kind of hold it. And then this little guy will be that extra little hold down system here to grab a riv nut and kind of hold it all together. It'll grab it out here on the top hat. So that's this guy here. So that's the side skin essentially, right? Well, that guy has to go with. Come on now. So anyway, yeah, that's like the side hat or the side skin. It goes in like that, and then the hat will grab that and that, the cat in the hat. So that's side skins, real easy there. And then this guy here, you're going to go ahead and put this together. You're going to put the 1.5 by 3 through there, skewer it. You're going to have the top guys here, and then those guys will skewer through this guy. That's the bar that holds the TVs on, right? So that's this bar right here. So you can see that's the skewer through part, right? That goes on top of the cross member. So you can see there's the cross member. There's the skewer through. The holes go up. So these are what these TVs actually mount to. And so also these tongues, if everything works out okay, I don't expect you having to chop these off. But the idea is that the TVs have that piece of angle. This is what's mounted to the TVs. So this whole part theoretically will sit onto that quarter, and this will support the TVs inherently. Done. So that will self-center the TVs if everything works out properly. And there will be an 1/8-inch space in between the bottom of the opening and the TVs. This magenta is your TV right here, right? So it has an 1/8-inch gap all the way around. So if everything works out properly, the tongues that are sticking out up here will hold the TV itself. That will support all the weight. Then you're just using 5/16 through hardware to just bolt the TVs on from the back side. So that's how that works. The bottom doesn't have those. The bottom is just flush. So you can see there that these guys are just bonk flush. These little guys just go in between just to give it that extra strength. And then, like I say, though, these are being put through and attached here. So you're burning, kind of tacking all that together. And then the base, how low can you go, also has the plates. These plates go in here. Those plates you want to burn really good to your 1.5 by 3, because that is what supports the TVs. So this is the connection. This guy here, this is the connection to the TVs to the base. So you want to make sure that those are, kind of welded up good, or well, either way, if you want to use good grammar, good well grammar. So, and that's just going to be half by 13, like we do, monument style, monument stees. So that's the back frame. That's the wings. That's the hat. The back skins will be, that's where the perf comes in. You've done this before. I just gave you those guide marks. You're just going to lords these, or if you tack them, I don't know, however you guys do it. But yeah, get those secured to the inside of the back skins. That way it looks all clean from the back. Now, there should be a box. I don't know if you guys got it or not, for McNasty. McNasty has the indoor, like the screening that you have on your screen doors or whatever. That we're going to put on the inside when we're done. But again, we don't want to do it. We want to do it after paint so it doesn't get plugged up with paint. But we're going to go ahead and either silicone, it's dealer's choice. You can either silicone or lords it to the inside back of the perf. That way it just adds that little bit more of like dirt and bugs, just a little more screening. But we want maximum airflow, obviously, with all that open. So look for that. And then there's a couple other things to look for too. So anyway, but yeah, there's your jiggies. And then again, that's all, let's see. Yeah. quarter 20 steel riv nugs on this. The quarter 20s go into the framing, right? So that way, or no, it goes into these guys. That way the skins, you can bolt it through there. Yeah, that's right. A lot of times we put the riv nuts, or yeah, they go into the jiggies, but not on this time. So anyway, so it's all quarter 20 hardware. It's 5/16 for holding the screens on. That's just through bolts, but otherwise get your quarter 20 riv nuts going. All right. So we got the back frame, right? You got the skins, you got the back doors, good to go. And so now let's do the base. How low can you go? So you're starting off with the plates, and then you're going to cut these tubing, 21 even, 9 even. And then this guy here is just obviously 0.9375 is 15/16, so just a little shy. But this guy doesn't have to be perfect. It's arbitrary per se. You're just looking for this guy to be 1 inch up from the base. That's all. But it's going to bonk where it bonks. So, I didn't really put any place where you to match. So as long as this is within that spec, that's just essentially where it's going to go, because you're going to sandwich this. Don't weld this until you have these 2 bars welded to the base. So you can see there's the dog bones that goes that way. This guy here attaches here, and this guy attaches to the back. And then that sandwiches, you can see the orange there. That sandwiches the 3-bys. There's the 3-bys there. And then that just sandwiches and grabs that 45 that you're putting in there. So weld this top plate first, go ahead and do the dog bones, do all of that. You got these cross boys that come across this way that add stability. And then you can go ahead and, while you're there, do the Monty Stee style, do the 1/2 inch by 13s, go ahead and tack those on there. And that's, again, this is where this outline right here is that frame. That's the TV frame. And I even put these little notches here because obviously, you'll line up the bolt holes, by eye, it looks good, but this will give you, if everything works out right, that should be the edge on these notches. So that should give you, and then left to right, you're just going to have to make sure you're dead center. You just work on that. Anyway, but that'll be after final assembly later. But anyway, so get all this welded together, get these 2 guys in there. So that way then you can slide in your 3-bys and then slide in this guy, and wherever that lands is where that lands. But as long as this is perpendicular, that's got to be 90 to these. If anything, honestly, like a half a degree preload, because all of this TV is going to be like, however, this is going to be, when we're done, we can probably park a truck. But the idea is with the wind and this kind of, cantilever nonsense of all of this stress going down to here, this might be overbuilt, but it's got to be that way because we know how heavy these things are, and then we're going to get the wind going. So anyway, so go ahead and burn those up. This is just in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. But it's in between there. It gives a nice support. Get that guy burnt. But again, make sure that those quarters are first, and then you burn it to the quarters really good, and then burn the bottom. Then you're going to go ahead and do quarter 20 guys here, but make sure the island fills on these little quarter boys are facing out, because when you go to bolt the side skirts on the bottom skirt boys here, when you go to put the quarter 20s in, I'm leaving a 16th right there and a 16th on the other side. So we want to make sure that the riv nut doesn't eat up that space. So same thing here. So you're going to be welding when you do these long boys here on the bottom. You're also going to weld on these guys at the ends. Now these dog bones are through, so that way you can put the recesses out. So that's quarter 20 riv nuts right there, and they're on the ends. You can see right there. So these guys here support this whole skirt system that's going to be happening. Right there, you can see that's going to support that whole thing. So it's important to get those. Plus down here, it's the same thing. So at the bottom, you're going to have these guys, make sure the recesses point out. And then that's also how the bottom skirt's going to attach. So get that burnt to that, get these guys burnt to those, and then we should be good to go there. Also, no fly zone. Let's go ahead and make sure you only burn to the side and the back, right? If you burn to the front, you might end up having to grind off that weld a little bit because the skirt has to, where do I got a picture of that? Where's my skirt? Yeah, see right there. Again, I only have a 16th. So if you put a weld right here, that might get in the way. So make sure that's just welded really good there and a little bit on the side, and that'll be fine. It's just got to hold the skirt in place. All right, so that's it. Skirt time. Skirt. So this is where the speaker boxes live, the speaker box, the grills right there. So I broke it up into 4 pieces, let's say. So we got the speaker box first. That's the top guy here. So there is a back side and there's a front side to the speaker box. Obviously the front side has the grills for the speaker and the microphone. That's where they go. And then this whole thing, you're going to jiggy it together, right? You can tack jiggy it, and then you're going to lords it to its bottom skin. And then the bottom skin is how everything else lords together. So you can see there's the bottom skin right there. There's no need for a top skin per se, because it just wraps around the 1/4 inch base. So just to make it look clean. And then you can see where everything else is going to lords to that bottom skin. So use your jiggies here and tack together the speaker box halves. And then again, these are separate. So you got the front and the back. And then you're going to lords that. And then once you get that lords on there, then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take the jiggies and you're going to create, this is the middle box here, right? So that's this guy. That's this little middle box here. And then you're going to take the bottom box here with the bees on it. And that's going to be like this bottom box there. Then with all the corresponding clecos, you lords this guy to this guy, right? Again, lords block party. And then once you get the little guy done, he lords is to the bottom of the speaker box. And that brings that all together. So at that point, you should have speaker box and these guys, right? But you don't want to lords it all yet. I'm just saying, once you get everything tacked together, get all the separate little boxes tacked, and then you're going to make also this guy. Don't forget the triangle. It all has to go together. So the triangle, same thing. It has an outside skin. It has three little jiggies for the corners, and you're just going to tack this together. This also has this little bar that you're going to lords or tack in. And if we need to, that's sort of a splice. So once these two halves come together, because this base is so funky, there's no way to slide anything over it. Like this is how it's going to be bolted first. Like this whole system gets bolted first. And then how do you slide any of this box sense, stuff on there? So that's why the boxes are actually in two separate halves. They have to actually come together. Right now over me, they come together, and then that's how that all goes together. So you need to make sure that all of this is like lined up properly, so that way it all comes together properly. But if it doesn't come together quite properly, there's ways that I put this little guy here. If they want to shoot screws from the bottom here, you can shoot there, there, and there to kind of hold this together. But also, like say, you got the quarter 20s doing the work there, and you got the quarter 20s doing there and there. That's going to hold it together for the most part. And then the quarter 20 up here. But I also have these two little sneaky guys here. When you do the speaker box, the bottom jiggies on the front actually give you 1024s to actually attach the backside as well. So you can take your frap, if it needs to, you can shoot a screw up from the bottom. Nobody will see it. So you will see the quarter 20s on the side, but that's just the way it is. You got quarter 20, and quarter 20. There you go. But we can actually do a number 10 here. And then if necessary, we can do some number 10s to hold the triangle together as well. And that's what that piece is for right here. So now all that's done. That's when you're going to go ahead and Lord's Block Party all this together. You're going to take the speaker box. You're going to take the speaker box, and then you're going to Lords this little guy to that. You're going to Lords this guy to that. And then you're going to bring the triangle and Lords it to the whole thing. And that should give you one half. And then you're going to do it to the backside, and you're good to go. Now the speaker box, again, after paint, we also want to do a couple pieces of screen. So just chop out some little rectangles or little squares there. And you're just going to do the same thing, either silicone or Lords that to the backside to close up that little, because I'm sure some bees and whatnot would love to live in there. Nice little entry point there. Ooh. So one last thing is you're going to have a decorative strip along the top of the speaker box in order to make it look like the 090 goes all the way around. So there's nothing on the top because the top hat kind of closes that up, right? But then you have your side wings of 09. That's the side wings there. But we want to make it look like also that it goes along. So you're just going to be lordsing this strip to the top of the speaker box. So that's what this strip right here is for. That's the 09. And you're just going to Lords that right there. And then you're done. And that can go out to paint. But that's going to kind of dummy up that front edge. And it's like, ooh, cool. Now, when it comes time to assembly, you're going to, TVs are going to do all the work, whatever. You see this little black strip here. It's 2x. That is going to get stuck directly to the 1/4 inch base. How low can you go? That's what this black strip right here. You're going to go ahead and apply this strip. Now, this is in McMaster Car. It's 1/8 inch rubber. So in order to keep the weight of these gargantuan freaking screens from just putting all the weight on this frame, which then will want to bend, even though you guys, frap the crap out of these guys, this whole thing might want to lean forward. So should everything work out, this rubber strip should catch the back edge of the monitor bevel right here, or the bezel, the framing. So put this black strip all along final assembly, all along the front side of the quarter, and then that should be enough to literally set the TV on that. And then that should match up also with the tongues to support. So if the tongues take the weight first, that's great. Or if these guys aren't quite, and these are just sitting on that rubber will eventually mash down a little bit. So these guys will then probably grab the weight. So if everything is good and everything is like how it's supposed to be, then it'll be a little bit of like supporting itself here. And that way it keeps it from wanting to just sort of, bend like this, right? Anyway, so that's it. So in McMaster, you got some funky screens, and you've got this rubber strip There's enough rubber strip that it's shorter than it should be. So you'll do like, you know, to about here, start another strip and then use the remainder on the other one and then whatever's left. So because they didn't come this long, of course they don't. So anyway, thanks McMaster. So don't forget the rubber strip. That's your final assembly. So, and then please, yeah, let's test fit everything. Make sure all my notches are notched properly for, you know, where the 45 goes. You know, that's all supposed to work. Watch out for these guys here. These got the funk because that has to match that opening there. So these jiggies are for the for the inside. That's what in is, and the right is for right. So anyway, so yeah. Hopefully I didn't miss any parts. Keep a sharp eye. If you're missing something, let me know. But I think I sent everything. So yeah, quite a bit of stuff going on. Oh yeah, I got the top. Don't forget those guys. You got the top boys there too. 1/4-inch plates. But yeah, you'll see those. But yeah, and I have an 1/8 inch space right here from the 1/2 inch plate to that. So there should be a little gap, just to allow airflow / trying to not be right against the bleeding edge of just not fitting. So, but the plate does stick out. You know, the plate is bigger than the actual thing there. So that's normal. If you see that, we should be shooting for that space. But yeah, burn all this up 1/2 inch. You guys will have some fun. Turn it up. Anyway, I think that's it. So if you have any questions, hit me up.
Check the